lovelies. Today, I'm really excited to talk to you about becoming a more confident leader. And I have 5 tips or steps for you in how to go about that. Because let's be clear, I'm sure a lot of us have been told we just need to be more confident as leaders, and there's no actual tangible or actionable steps that are ever given to us when we're given that feedback. So let's go through a few things today. Hopefully some of them will work for you, if not all of them, and that you can step into your leadership and be the most confident, amazing self. So in my experience, I have worked in the government for a very long time, and I see a lot of leaders with different degrees of effectiveness. So something I've noticed about women leaders is they often need to be more prepared. They need to just feel like they need to justify their position, how they got to where they are. And they're often working 10 times harder preparing for meetings and, all the sorts of things that happen to us as leaders, and it just comes across as less confident. So being a confident leader is what's going to inspire trust and respect in your team and in those around you and in those above you as well, that you can manage your team in any situation that may arise. So, but I am a firm believer that confidence is not going to be handed to you, no matter how many times people tell you, oh, this is just what you need is more confidence. Nobody's going to hand it to you on a silver platter. You need to be able to build that for yourself. You need to be able to understand that in yourself. So that's why today we're going to go through 5 tips on how you can manage that to become a more confident leader. So number 1 is self-awareness, knowing yourself, understanding the value that you bring. So to me, confidence isn't about I need to be more confident. It's more about you need to understand the value that you bring to any given situation. So once you know the value that you bring, you can be more confident in what you say and do in the workplace. So you'll be more confident when you ask questions, or when you have nothing to contribute, or if you're going to take longer than expected to deliver on a task, because this is my value, this is the value that I'm bringing to this, or these are the areas where I still need to develop my skill set, so it is going to take me longer to deliver on a certain outcome, for example. So it's really important that you know your strengths, weaknesses, values, and beliefs. The knowledge that you gain from this is going to empower you to make more informed decisions, communicate more authentically, and navigate challenges with better ease, greater ease. So knowing your strengths and values is going to give you that confidence to speak up, share your opinion, and even disagree with other people. Your weaknesses and even your beliefs are going to allow you to continue to learn, set real expectations with yourself and with others, and to react proactively when your beliefs are questioned. So if you understand that you have a particular weakness in an area, then you're not going to take it to heart if somebody else calls that out as a weakness, and you can start working on that as a development goal, and really trying to turn that into a strength and turn it around. But you can still set the expectation that, hey, this is the first time that I've attempted this, so I'm going to take a little bit longer, or is it okay if we sit down and review it now that it's completed, so that you can really learn from the experience. It's really difficult, for example, when you are leading a team of experts and you yourself are not an expert in that particular area. You do not need to be an expert to be a leader or to lead experts, especially if you understand the value that you bring to the overall team. When we talk about diversity of teams, we're talking about diversity of skills, of experience, of backgrounds, of knowledge. And if your particular value is in something that nobody else has, or, is not necessarily in the expertise that everybody else in the team has, that doesn't mean that you're not providing value in that space. Your job is to be there to guide and to lead and to direct that team of experts to provide their expertise in whatever format that they may deliver in. So don't take that as a negative, just see that as everybody brings a value, different value to the team, and what is yours in particular. And that way you can go about talking to the team with confidence, but also leveraging, their skill set and their expertise to get the outcome that you need as a team and as a leader. in order to understand your strengths, weaknesses, and understand the value they bring, there's going to be a lot of self-reflection that you need to do. This is really good to get into the habit of, because it gives you that opportunity to really kind of build on your self-awareness and reflect on things as they occur so that you can continue to learn and grow. It's also self-awareness is also the first part of emotional intelligence that we talk a lot about when we talk about leadership in the workplace. So self-reflection, retrospection, whatever it looks like to you, it's good to reflect on, how are you thinking? How are you feeling? How did you behave in particular events or as things were occurring? Either write them down or spend some time in mindfulness or whatever that looks like for you when you go for your morning walk. For me personally, it's overnight time when I'm winding down and I'm getting ready for bed, like I go through my day. And it really helps me to kind of get all those things out of my head so that I can sleep, but also, I learn from what happened to that day and what I'm going to then, I come up with a great way of how I'm going to then approach, the next day, so that, I feel like I can still provide important value. Another way you can do this is to provide feedback. Some organizations have the 360-degree feedback. Others have like a regular performance review cycle. Or you can just generally ask for feedback. Ask for feedback from your team, from your colleagues, from your supervisors. It could also be from mentors, friends. You can give them the scenario. They don't necessarily have to be directly there, but you can give people the scenario and receive some feedback, based on your obviously perspective. This is going to provide you some strengths, some areas for improvement, things that could be done differently in the future. But I want you to remember when you're getting feedback that feedback is subjective. It is one person's opinion or one or two people's opinions. You need to analyze any feedback that you receive and consider whether or not it's helpful and relevant to you at the time. People are quite happy to give feedback, but a lot of the time it's not actually relevant to you, or it could be really, really bad feedback that actually is not going to work for you because of your circumstances or because it doesn't align with your values. So really go through and analyze it all. I've become unstuck by some really terrible feedback in the past. And so I've realized that, thank you, that's great. I'm going to analyze it. And then, you know what? I just don't agree with what you've said to me. So, I'll take it on board or not. It can also make you really overwhelmed and anxious because you've got different opinions coming at you and you're not sure which one to follow. So just take a breath, only take on the bits that resonate with you. An interesting fact about feedback, particularly for women, is that the Harvard Business Review did a study, and what they found was that men are more likely to receive actionable steps when it comes to the feedback that they receive, whereas women are given no action steps whatsoever and a very wishy-washy, ambiguous form of feedback. For example, men will be told you need to display your confidence and skill in this skill set and do it in this way and in this setting and yada, yada, yada. Whereas women will be told, you just need to be more confident. Hands up if you've ever been told that in a performance review. But, we need to be careful. And this feedback comes from both men and women. So we need to be really careful about receiving feedback. If you're getting feedback from somebody, make sure that you're asking really specific questions. Okay, how would I go about that? What would that look like to you? Is there any training that I can do in this space? How can you support me to build up the skills in this area? So make sure that you're asking for really tangible things and make sure it's all recorded so that you can come back to it later if they then renege on the fact that they said that they were going to support you to do a certain training. Just be mindful when it comes to feedback. Feedback can be great. I'm a feedback junkie, but you just got to be really mindful of the people who are giving it to you and whether or not you're going to take that on board. The next thing that you need to do to become a more confident leader is set clear goals. A goal, plan, or direction is going to help you. It's also going to help the team. So having those clear goals is going to provide a sense of direction and purpose. You know where you're going. The team knows where we're going. Everybody finds it easy to stay focused, motivated, and perform and provide outcomes. So, you can go through the usual things of setting goals, break down the goals into smaller, achievable steps, track the progress, celebrate successes with the team. You can do this as an individual for your own career goals or as your goals as a leader, but then make sure you're seconding this for the team as well. Obviously, you can go through your SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. And this helps you kind of create those goals that are meaningful and actionable. So instead of setting yourself a really vague goal, like I want to be a better leader, set a specific goal, such as I would like to lead a team project by the end of the quarter. I would like to lead a successful team project by the end of the quarter. Then you need to define what success is going to look like in that space so that it is measurable. If you have good self-awareness, then you're going to know what goals are important to you. You can base them around your weaknesses or your values. Do you want to lead the team in a certain project? Do you want to take on a certain opportunity? So depending on how ambitious you are, is going to determine what kind of goals you're going to set for yourself as an individual. Make sure you share these goals with your boss, include it in performance discussions, tell them clearly how you think that they can help you achieve this goal. They're either training or other opportunities, so that it's kind of all written down and recorded, as I said, with the same with the feedback, so that there's actual tangible outcomes that you can achieve from that. If they're not agreeable to what you've suggested they can do to support you, ask them, okay, what's another way that you could support me to achieve this goal? Make sure you're giving it to them and making sure they're involved and also accountable for this goal, because you could set yourself a goal of, I want to go and do X training. And as soon as the boss says, no, I'm not paying for that, you can't afford to pay for it yourself, or they won't give you the leave to go do that training, then you kind of get stuck in that kind of bogged down this, how am I going to achieve anything if I can't get this goal? So set attainable goals, work with your boss, how you're going to attain them. You also need to be really clear about what those goals are. You need to be clear with your team as to what the team goals are. Brene Brown, she talks about this from a feedback perspective, but I think it's also really important in any sort of communication. Clear is kind and unclear is unkind. So if you're going to sit down and set goals with your team, make sure they're really clear goals, because if you haven't set clear goals for yourself or for your team, you are just setting people up to fail. Even get the team involved in setting those goals so that everybody's on the same page. Don't be afraid to pivot though. If those goals are not going to work for you, make sure that you can pivot, you can adjust, you can reanalyze and kind of go, right, we're gonna swing over here. Don't miss out on opportunities because your goal that you had was to go in this direction, then an opportunity opens up to go in this direction. Don't kind of dismiss that, and maybe it's worth reanalyzing. The amount of times that I've decided that, actually I'm going to go for this, and then, all of my dreams and ambitions for leadership and promotion and everything kind of slide and adjust depending on what opportunities open up, and means I've gotten to where I am today.